Hey, welcome to Musings, episode number 223. How's it going, Scott?
It's going well. How about you?
Good. We got sitting in the wings. Bob Hickey be joining us a minute here. We're going to get some ad reads going here. Scott, if you're ready, why don't you go ahead with Team Titans of Real Estate?
I will do so as soon as I share this. There we go. Team Titans of Real Estate. Why? Because you matter. That's right. Even though we utilize the latest in tools in technology and all the gizmos and gadgets that we have going on, like drones and fun stuff like that, we never forget buying a house is still at its core a people business. That's why we always put our relationship with you as our number one priority. Last week, Jill and I, we had a new house on the market. I mentioned on the air. It sold pretty quick, multiple offers. It actually just within 2 days. What do we have, Jill? I think like 75% of those showings ended up placing offers on the house. So wow. We had a really good turnout. Ended up selling above asking price. I can't mention the details until after it closes, but we have another happy homeowner selling out their house with us. So we're happy about that. So anyways, if you need real estate, give us a call. 586-549-6096 is my number, or Joe Webler's 586-277-2145. Or if you like to live dangerously and on the edge, you can call our Team Titan hotline and just take your chances on which one of us you'll get. And that's at 586-232-5144.
Be like, please, Jill. Please, Jill. Please, Jill.
Brett is going, please, Jill. Please, Jill. Please, Jill. Well, excellent. Just to proof of life, there's Jill. She's working away.
Hey, Jill.
She's got a closing coming up. She's about to handle. So,
yes, make that money.
Well, I'm frolicking on the air with Odd Musings and Brett and Bob.
Well, our other sponsor is Larger Family Chiropractic Center PC, located in Belleville, Michigan, and Dexter, Michigan. I don't have my ad read up. My screens were taking forever to bring. But they are located there. They do great chiropractic service. They have massage therapy, orthotics by foot levelers, young living essential oils, aromatherapy, all in a family-oriented environment. You can give them a call by clicking on their Facebook page at Larger Family Chiro, largerfamilychiropractic.com. There's the call now button, 734-697-4244. Give them a call, set up a consultation, and get some wellness going in your life and be happy and healthy and keep on going.
If you are living with a pain in the back in your life, give them a call. And there's
hey guys. Trying to get set up here. Sorry, it's been a while.
That's okay. How are you doing?
Good. How you guys doing?
I may be cutting in and out. It looks like my internet's weird.
That's okay. We'll just keep talking.
Yeah.
Brett's got the Max Headroom effect going. Remember, that was like so cutting edge way back in the day, and it turned out it was just an actor. We thought like they wanted him to look CGI or something, but it was fun.
Mm-hmm.
You up and running, Brett?
Yeah,
or are you
Matt Fuhrer. He's a good actor. Aaron, I'm kind of popping in and out. My internet's acting wonky again.
That's okay. All right, so I'll kind of take the lead then until Brett's audio is going full speed with us here. So Robert Hickey's been a longtime friend of the show here. We've known him for years. Brett has known him for a real long time, almost since the beginning of time, I think. No, but I first met you through Brett. We stopped at your headquarters there. We were on the road one time, and I got to see the Blue Line Pro HQ. That was fun back in the day.
Yes.
And but you got an exciting book you're releasing here.
Yes.
So how about you tell us a little bit about it?
Well, the title's Camelot Forever, Lancelot's Redemption. It hit Amazon yesterday, and it's been pretty good. We're like a #1 bestseller in new releases, and we're #2 in one of our categories that we applied for. So we come up pretty strong. So ebook, we're running a special. So anybody who's really into Kindle ebooks, we're running at 99 cents for the next 5 days.
Nice.
So it's done pretty well. It's my first adventure into publishing a novel and really going after the whole Amazon, Kindle, trying to get as much exposure. You know, that's where most people, I personally download a lot of my reading material off of Kindle. or Audible, depending on if I'm going to listen to it. So
now I know you've done a lot with comic books. Is this your first novel, or have you done others?
Yes. No, this is the first novel. This was originally put out. Oh yeah, Camelot Forever. This was originally designed as a comic book many years ago, as Scott said, many years ago. And it was probably one of my first really horrible experiences with an artist. It was one of those things where he's a well-known artist, worked for the big companies, commissioned them to do the character designs, came on to do the pages. He took the money and ran.
Oh, no.
I have a couple pages and I've got 4 or 5 character designs. So I just shelved it, went back to my superhero stuff, keeping Blue Line sketch. But this book's always been on my mind. It's like, man, I just want to do something. So a few years ago, decided, okay, it's time to dust this off, revisit the character, see what we can do with it. But maybe not invest any more money as far as artist, but just write a book. So I pulled Bill Nichols. Bill Nichols, a good friend of mine, known him forever. He's an editor on Sketch Magazine. He's done a lot of the shows and stuff with me. And so we sort of co-wrote it. It sort of takes place in 2 different time zones, modern day and the past during the medieval times. And Bill handled a lot of the medieval character developments and storylines that went along. And I wrote more of the modern day. And we're sort of like pulling the 2 together in future. So there's got more than one novel. So we're pulling the 2 together to coincide as the novels develop. The funny thing about this novel is it wasn't even supposed to exist. The first novel, Pendragon's Return, is 3/4 written, and I got a writer's block because I needed to do something in the story that I just never had a writer's block before, but I wanted this to be so important, I was really holding myself back. So I'm like, okay, let's write this little short story because we have another little short story called Camelot Forever Snowflake that we put out years ago. We did little trades of it. We actually included it in the back of Lancelot's Redemption. So with this book, you got everything we've written. We said, let's do another short story. Well, this little short story with Lancelot got longer. You know how that is. You develop more. Oh, but we got to show this character. We got to move this along, and this I hope Pendragon, because we know what the next novel is about. It's 3/4 written. Oh, we can set this up better. And before we knew it, it was like, okay, so Lancelot's going to be the first novel.
Very good.
and Pendragon will be the second novel.
So in writing a novel, what did you find the main challenges and differences were compared to a comic book? For example, for me, when I write comics, I tend to write way too much, and then you've got to distill it down to the bare essence to fit in a 20 to 30 page issue. And a lot of stuff you try to convey through the images, whereas here you're dealing with words. What kind of learning curve was there, and how did you like it?
It sounds like you're already a novelist then, Scott. I'm just the opposite. I've always worked with so many artists, being with Blue Line and Sketch over years. I've met and created and never so many artists that I'm one to say, okay, there's a battle scene. This is where it ends. Take up 3 pages, have fun, move on. I'm not going to write it. I want the artist to really include. So my problem was adding the details. The butterfly floated by the flower, which carried you up by the sign that you read that says this is a park. Right. And it's like, wow. Okay. Yeah. So I have to, but what I do, and I've had people read this and go, it's a quick read. I said, is that bad or good? And it goes, no, it's a fun read. I was like, well, okay, that's what we want. So I go through and plot out almost everything first. I know, just write it like a comic. And then I go back and start character developing more, moving things along, adding in more dialogue. And so I will write and rewrite several times. So I don't write page 1, it's finished. Page 2, it's finished. Page 3, it's finished. This is a process for me. Yeah. So it's just like taking my knowledge of comics and just, having fun with it. But it is a lot more work, believe it or not.
Right.
So
now, you originally started doing, like I said, as a Kickstarter. What made you decide to skip the Kickstarter for the book and just go straight to Amazon Publishing?
Yeah, years ago we offered the Pendragon book as a Kickstarter. It didn't do real well. I don't think books at that time were doing really well. The comics were just developing. I mean, you didn't have the Brian Politos who were doing $400,000 and the Bill Tucci's are doing a couple $100,000. It was good for us to raise a few $100s back then. for that market to really develop. Now, these guys have really brought attention to that market, which is great. You know, my Paradox Wars Kickstarter did real well in the last year because of that. But it just didn't take off. I didn't have the knowledge I needed to really market it. So I'm like, okay, let's go back. And that's when we went back and says, let's write an intro and expand things. And then I started studying Amazon. You know, Amazon's got the people. They got the buyers. And I'm like, okay, well, I took some online classes on how to market and publish on Amazon. And these were really good classes, well worth the investment. And I learned a lot about categories. You know, you don't just put in 3 categories. You've got 7 more that you can request if you know how to request.
Oh, okay.
So it's all this stuff that I learned with these classes that has really helped out with getting this where it is just in 24 hours. So Amazon ads is another beast. I can't even get them to spend my money. That's the problem. You know, I raise my bids, and I'm getting outbidded and everything. But the whole thing with Amazon is building algorithms. You get acknowledged, and they call it relevance in that market. In other words, they take notice of you, and if they take notice of you, then they start putting you in places. Like the number one on the new releases. They took notice that we were advertising and promoting and getting some hits right off the bat. So we got moved into a selection. They will do that. So it was worth their investment. Not the fun part of writing or creating, you know, but it's the business part. And you guys all know there's always a business part to the fun creative end.
Yeah, that's a whole nother animal.
Yes, it is.
Especially when you're dealing with, you know, these algorithms, whether it's trying to promote on Facebook or Amazon or whatever. It's almost a full-time job keeping up to date with there's so much nuance to it. And, you know, if you don't, you almost have to hire a 5-year-old to run your campaign because they understand it.
Yes, I agree.
It's like, you know, the speed at which things have changed from traditional to now, it's like on one hand, it's so freeing and it allows us to go straight to market in ways we never could dream of just 15 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
But on the other side, it's so overwhelming. It's like, well, how do I just let people know about me? You know?
Right. Well, it's like Amazon. I didn't know that, but with their ads, you can get up to 1,000 keywords.
Oh,
where do you find that 1,000 keywords that will help them push you somewhere? Well, there's a little tool you can purchase. It's cheap, but it will go through and search all of Amazon. Once you put your 7 keywords in, it will find 1,000 related keywords.
Oh, wow.
So there's stuff out there that you can do that really will push you over the edge and stuff. So yeah, and it's amazing. You've got to do it all. That's what these big companies are doing. They know about the 7 more categories and the 1,000 more keywords and all that to get noticed. So yeah.
Now you mentioned you took a class for this. Where did you find a class for it?
I just went online and started searching, and Kara Stein, she did it's an 8-piece course on how to create a bestseller. I'm like, yeah, right. So I bought it. You know, I'm like, what the heck? What's 20 hours, right? She's good. She is very good. And I like that she started her videos with, I might cuss, so excuse me. And then she goes up, but she never cusses. That's what I was like, oh, darn, you know.
You're starting to hope for it.
Yeah, it's like, come on, Kara, cut loose one video. Come on. But no, it was very informative. She broke it's just a process. It really is a process to getting them within the top 100. It's if you know all these little things that they don't publicize, they don't tell you about. But she has created this course and has created many bestsellers with this course.
So I think I found her online. I'm just going to pop her up real quick. Let's see here. So it looks like this is her website.
Project Bestsellers. That's one of her courses. I took 3 of her courses. Yep, that's it.
Okay.
And they're well. I mean, the one course I took was a couple $100. You're thinking, wow. Well, if she can save me time, money, and not waste ad money, and get me in the right direction, then yeah, it was a investment.
Here, I'll share the page. Unless, do you get is there some kind of link you have for referrals
or anything?
Okay.
No.
I'll just share the link for that on here so people can find it. But
and I did share I shared the link for the book also.
Yeah, I see that too. So if people are just checking you out too, they're not sure if they want to buy, just simply clicking on the Amazon link that Brett posted, that helps you out too, right? The more clicks, even. So
click
even if you
to the searches.
Yeah, so just take a moment to click on that link that Brett shared earlier, just to help get his click count up too.
Yes.
So, but cool. It's always good to know. This is also what I like about the comic book community is, us openly sharing our ideas and our experiences. Because, this is something I may want to look into then also, because that sounds like a great course you took.
Yeah. And of course, now I'm thinking how we can use it with comics. Sort of the same concept,
Yeah.
The publishing, unfortunately, it's getting harder and harder for stores to even carry your comics. Now, DC, Marvel all pulled away from Diamond and everything's going crazy. So it's like Amazon, and Comixology is merging with Amazon.
Oh, okay.
You guys know that, right?
I didn't know that.
Okay.
I heard that a while back. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I got an email last week saying my back account at Comixology will be merging with my KDP account. And KDP is your publishing account with Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, what's going on? I did research, and they're really merging it all over to Amazon now. I've been expecting it, which for me, because I've been in KDB, I've been doing all the publishing, just makes that easier to get the comics on there and graphic novels. So Karis course, I've been looking at it going, okay, now that they're really merging this all together, how can I use it? Do I want to go to 1,000 words to help promote Paradox Wars? What kind of ad money do you want to throw into it? Blah, blah, blah. How is it profitable? So,
nice.
Pretty neat.
Well, and of course with the novel versus comics, it's kind of a different game. At the same time, it's like I said, it's marketing's marketing and ways to figure this out. And we've all been doing comics for so many years, just trying to get it all out there. Like you mentioned, with the different people like Polito and Tucci on like Kickstarter, and we're just lucky to hit $7,000.
Yeah, and that's a lot of work.
And that stuff, and all this stuff here that we do is these buzzwords and that. I'm wondering how many people else thought about these classes, because I'd never even heard of half these classes from these people. It's like, where do you find this information? Every time you look, it seems like, and this kind of ties in what Scott was saying about the comic community. A lot of us, we talk and we share information, but it seems like when you go looking for information out there, it's like I could tell you how to do it, but I don't want you to do better than me.
No, I've never. Brett, you know me a long time. I've never been one of those.
But
that's
it's
why I
how
created Sketch Magazine. I want to share, and I'd run into all these creators. I'm like, write me articles, just share this stuff,
Yeah.
So
now, what's going on with Sketch Magazine since you brought it up?
Sketch Magazine.
Yes,
we are back in October with a Kickstarter.
All right.
Good friend of mine, Bo Smith, will be on the cover. He created the Wynonna Earp, which was a sci-fi show, I think it was. Now it's on Netflix. Yes, there it is.
Mm-hmm.
And we will be back as a Kickstarter. I'm trying to get this book launched through, take a little break, little vacation in the month, and then we'll be back pushing the heck out of this and just see what kind of audience we can build.
Yeah. I used to love getting Sketch Magazine.
Cool.
It was one of my favorite magazines to get. Always enjoyed it. You had such great creators on there, like Adam Hughes and so many others. And I just always would love seeing what was coming up in the next Sketch Magazine.
Yeah, it was always fun, but it was majorly laboring because everybody would commit, but then never follow through. So we're constantly trying to get the articles to fill it. And one of the worst experiences was Rob Liefeld, who committed to a cover, sent us all the information, and then last minute it was like, nah. This was after we offered it to Diamond, or after we got all the numbers in. We had to change the cover. It was a nightmare.
Oh boy!
But it was part of what was going on then too for him. So, but Sketch is back. 47. Our goal is to get it to 50. If we can get some momentum going, we'll keep it going.
Now, will it be a digital?
Yes,
magazine?
Digital and print.
Oh, and print.
Yeah, that's another thing. Blue Line has sort of been on the back burner for the past year, and that's because we've been in a process of updating its printing equipment. Most of our printing equipments were 100-year-old A.B. Dicks. So A.B. Dick is a printing press that is literally 100 years old. Getting parts for those have been a real nightmare. So we just dumped $100,000 into digital printing equipment.
Oh, wow.
To upgrade everything. So Blue Line is slowly coming back. We're going to be offering more more deals with that. And part of that with that was getting Sketch back up. So I think we'll be actually printing this in-house because the new printer has all the binder equipment and stuff. So they've been playing with it a little bit. We're not selling anything yet on it because we just want to work out all the bugs. But yeah, it's we will be back. We'll be back teaching. I've already pulled in some new creators. We had some interviews and stuff sitting here, so we'll see how she goes. But I like doing Kickstarters. Kickstarters is fun because we get to communicate like this and chat and talk, and you guys knows how it is. It's 4 weeks. It's worse than having a baby. Because it's just like, and you just never know if it's going to get there or not. Especially when you're on the edge. It's like,
versus that like middle too, because like you usually have a good start, and then you like. You're like shouting into a void, and it's like, is anyone even hearing me? Because like nothing happens, and then you get to the last week and it goes back up again. But that middle is always like, what happened?
Yeah, and it's just like everybody steps back and takes a breath. But then you have, I question like, and I like Brian Plato. It's good. He's a friend. I've known him for a long time, but he's got a machine that works, and he's got people, how it is. He's got people who does calls. But man, this last time, I bet you I was getting 3 to 4 communications a day about his Kickstarter. I'm like, this is more than Amazon hits me up, man. So at what point is overkill? I mean,
I don't know, because I've got a couple over here recently, and they've ended, and I'm still getting 3 to 4 a week on them, which is great because it's giving me updates. It's let me know what's going on.
Sure.
But during the Kickstarters, someone was like 3, 4, 5 a day. This is what's going on. Share this. Oh, did you all know about this? And it's like, yeah, you shared that like 4 times already yesterday.
Yeah, and the problem is they share it on their newsletter. So if you're signed up there, and then they hit the Kickstarter, which then pushes the same thing to you. So it's sort of like, But hey, what did he raise? $400,000 on his last Kickstarter.
It works. So
wow, for a graphic novel, for a little skinny graphic novel.
As I say, it's just a comic. It's I mean, not just a comic. It's a comic. It's not a big collection or anything.
No, it's a 50-page square bound collection, little story. So, but hey, Brian's been one of the hardest workers I've known out there. I've known him when he walked out, and he'd have his rock and roll music going on, and they'd walk out to their tables and everything. So he's always been a great showman. And hey, he loves comics. He loves comics as much as any creator out there I've known.
Well, and he really led the way in a lot. I mean, like for us with Bart Zone, we would love to be able to, get to the point of having the operation he has. His own warehouse, his own staff, people who are just handling logistics, people are handling just Kickstarters, people who are handling the art side of things, and it allows him. He has a staff doing all that, as creators, and this, we want to create, but the problem is the process. And so I have all these books I want to get done, but I'm busy drawing. I'm busy fulfilling a Kickstarter. I'm busy running a Kickstarter. And that's all time away from creating. And whereas once that book isn't going, he can move on to the next one and start creating the next one.
Right.
While that's being handled. And, the nice thing is these are artists who work directly for him, so he can fire them if they're not producing. When we're at our level, as you hire artists, and I'm an artist, but a lot of artists, unfortunately, don't treat it like a business. And deadlines are just suggestions to them. And meanwhile, you're pouring out money on a project. You need to get it completed so you can get a return on that money you spent. And it's very hard. So, and we've been very fortunate with each other, with Brett and Kevin and myself, where we're working really well together. We're able to help each other out on our projects. But every time we reach outside of our circle, it does get difficult.
Yes, it does.
Even just hiring for a cover and nothing else. I've reached out to some, and it's like, well, I can get it to you in about 10 months. I'm like, 10 months? What?
I think it's because so many creators still treat it as a hobby.
Yeah.
And not a job. It's not a 9 to 5. Well, in this art, you don't work 9 to 5. You work 9 to midnight, you spend it all the time. And unfortunately, we get to be creative for a month, and then we got to spend 3 months selling it.
Yeah.
And the creative is sort of a backslide, oh, I'm going to make notes, or I'm going to do this, but you don't really get to be creative until you get that project out, and then we get to move on. Unfortunately, as I said earlier about the book, I ran into the same things with Paradox Force. We were going to do this every 6 months. Well, the artist just disappeared. He had a flood, and he just was off the radar. So he had 3 or 4 pages done. He told me he lost everything, which I'm sorry. I said, so I gave him months and months, and I said, fine. I reached out and says, hey, Joel, we're going to get back to this? And really just crickets.
Yeah.
So I'm sort of like, that's another reason for the book. I control the writing, the marketing, everything. I don't have to rely on an artist. I even designed this cover. And it's like, why would I spend $300 or $400 for a book cover when I can put something together? And unfortunately, I was going to share it, but my first stab at this was using some of the comic book art. And one of the things Kara talks about in her videos is that look at your categories and your genres that you're writing for and see what the bestseller covers were. So that's sort of like with our covers. I wanted the silhouette holding the sword and the castle in the back and the storm, but yet that person doesn't look like a knight. It looks like modern clothes, So I wanted questions asked, and I am so old school. I just the cover I did the left. You read across the logo, and then you run down the sword, and then you get the title. It's always across, down, and across again. That's why I just like comic book covers and everything. It just moves the eye, So, but yeah, that was just a play upon. There's Camelot. I'm not seeing as much modern day in the cover. That will happen in Pendragon. We're going to take, the king has arrived in modern day. Maybe we'll build a city that sort of have a silhouette of a castle, but there'll be a bunch of little windows or something of city buildings. So I don't know. We're playing around with the cover for that, but
yeah. So you mentioned with Pendragon, that's been the main story. Then you hit a point where you felt you had to go back and do Lancelot. So is this kind of like pre-story for Pendragon? Is there key elements of this?
Yeah, it happens before Pendragon, right before it. The true character is Elizabeth in the story, and Snowflake, the little short story we put in the back here, it was her as a teenager, and first introduced her and the concept of Camelot and everything, and then but she's in modern day, and then this leaps to where she's in her early 20s, newly married, pregnant, but she's never and. One thing we've talked a lot about Arthur and Camelot, but there's also I threw in Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson in the story too, just because I'm a big fan. So I sort of made when something happened to her when she was a teenager, instead of in this, you're going to find out that her great grandfather is Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, cool.
There's a bloodline tie. And there's a whole concept of bloodlines with the knights to modern day, and that's what she's been studying. And there's a person out there who's killing off families, who's killing off bloodlines.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, and that's the idea is that Arthur's out there and they want him back. They want him, and that's the time. So we look at that in the Sherlock Holmes thing, and we sort of set up Watson being the daunting grandfather figure instead of Sherlock. He's this old stuffy guy who really into his own head and everything, So we sort of set them up. And then this, I've always been bothered by Lancelot, the whole Lancelot, Guinevere, blah, 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 and would she cheat on Arthur and blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to do my own little story here in modern day. So the main character in this is part of Lancelot's bloodline. And so it's a lot of fun. It's we're touching bases on bloodlines. We'll introduce the swords. All have some type of magical powers to them. So in the first story, the little short story was Snowflake. There's a charm. It's a snowflake charm, and you're going to find out later on. I'll spill the beans now. Is that this charm was actually smelted down from one of the original swords of Camelot. So it continued the magical enchantments that's on that sword, and it was invisibility. It was enchantment of invisibility that it passed on from magic, from demons, not from people, but from other magical creatures cannot see you or they hurt you. So there's stuff like that in there that we don't get real crazy about it because I want it to just be a fun story, So we don't go into a lot of the details, but we go into enough details to really, hopefully, and make the reader ask more questions.
Yeah.
So after we introduce Author and Pendragon, we're going to go on a search of the Seven Swords.
Nice.
To fight the villain, they've got to get together the magical instruments and tools, and that's when we'll find out more of what happened to some of the swords and stuff.
Cool. Part of the fun part of with the, for mine, Crimson Shadows, we have similar to you. There's characters, there's mythology, there's open domain, public domain stuff out there where there's these characters and figures in history that are iconic, and it's so fun to put your own twist onto it. And so you've got there's a lot of images that come to mind for Camelot, but there's also so much freedom to create it, to make it your own.
Right.
So what was did you have a process or a particular thing that was your touch to what Camelot is? Or
well, I researched a lot of the old poems and the stories that you would see that led into the movies that we've seen, over the years, and the tales. So I sort of looked at that and looked at the knights and stuff like that, and a lot of the swords were named. But I sort of I want to tell a modern tale. Bill really got into the past, so he's wanting to really develop some, because a few of those characters will be brought into the future, and of course, Author will be. And it was just I don't know. I'm not one to overthink it. I'm one to say I'd rather just throw a whole lot in the pot and whatever comes out, and then we just run with it. And I even did it with comics. It was I would write a character into a situation and have that character write itself out of it, because what you guys create, what those characters think, how they develop, what they would do in situations. They're people to us, they would handle things a certain way. And I'm doing the same thing with the books. I'm going to throw them into different situations. And as long, if it's a short story to write them out of the event, great. If it's a big, long story to write them out of the event, then that's what it is. But there's a lot of aspects. I've just thrown everything into it, from the Camelot stuff to the Sherlock Holmes stuff. I'm not touching on any of the books. One of the ongoing things is going to be Dr. Watson's grump is going to be, your great-great-grandfather couldn't find the fountain of youth when we were young. In other words, it stopped our aging, but now we're old men, so he complains when he's have to walk too much or keep up with the, whatever it is. His big complaint is that, your grandfather found the fountain of youth, but, it just sort of slowed our aging down, that type of thing, But we touch on Native Americans in America even, and how connected they are with the lands. And was it a magical connection? And was this villain somehow involved in what happened over here, where we, encouraged the government to take lands and kill so many of them off? And if they're not here, does that make the power stronger, the force stronger, if there's less people using it? So it's just a long process type of thing that we're playing with, the magic part of it and the storytelling part of it.
That's cool. There was actually a story that popped up 2 days ago. I saw, let me see, I'm going to pull it up. It was kind of cool. Ties into your topic. They found, using modern technology, they found an 800-year-old story about Merlin.
Really?
And using modern technology, a lot of the ink had become super faded, and they were able to make it so they could read it. And so they're finding some more of the closer to the original stories being told of Merlin and King Arthur and stuff. So this was a story that popped up there. You can see how worn out the paper is. And somehow through these X-ray scans or whatever,
right?
But they date this back to 1250 through 1275.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. It's amazing
crazy
that we're able to find ways of bringing these stories to life, even though that page looks almost empty.
Yeah.
So, no, pretty amazing.
King Arthur is, even as a kid, I love King Arthur. I like dinosaurs and King Arthur. Those are two things I absolutely love. Most kids probably love dinosaurs now. probably don't know
Which
much
brings
about
us to
the
Paradox
author.
Wars.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, lots of dinosaurs. Yeah. So I sort of stick around the stuff that I grew up with, but it's fun. It's what I wanted to write, you know.
Mhm.
But no, the whole thing you brought up Merlin. Merlin's definitely in this book, but he's sort of this character who's behind the scenes pushing people. And there's only one person Merlin cares more about than himself, and that is author. That is Pendragon. That is one person he cares more than himself or anybody else is him. And that's one thing that we will push along in this story as it develops. But he's sort of in the shadows, pushing buttons in the past. And well, he's more prevalent in the past, but in the future, there's still some sense of him back there pushing buttons. So
now in the original, does Merlin age in reverse?
I think that was something they
had or something like he ages in reverse. So like in the future, he'd be younger than what he is in the past or something like that.
Right.
But did you incorporate that into yours or no?
Hadn't really thought about it that far. No.
It's a hard concept to try to get. I guess it's like really Jonathan Winters and Mork and Mindy.
yeah.
Maybe he was Merlin.
Yeah. No, I hadn't really thought of it as much. I think I'm more of as a time traveler, and maybe that's why that works that way. There's definitely time traveling that's going on in this book because of moving author from, Pendragon is the same. The king from the past will arrive in the present day. It is the same person. And so yeah. I mean, we'll play around. It's fun, and I don't have to depend on an artist. And right now we have 2 books done, and I'm going to try to crank out 1 a year.
Nice.
Hadn't really thought about time framing of them, but recently I read an interview of Craig Johnson. He writes Longmire books. And I don't know if you're familiar with the Longmire. It was a TV series and a series of books. He's put 17 books out. Well, I read all the books multiple times, watched TV series and everything. And I didn't know this until he said in an interview that 4 of his books takes up one of Walt. Walt is the main character, 1 year of his life.
Oh.
So 4 books take up 1 year of his life, and the next 4 books takes another year of his life. I'm like, that's interesting. That's to break down the book series into that type of time frame is another way to chart things out and keep things moving forward,
Writing definitely makes you appreciate, like, for instance, Stephen King. Up. He has 63 novels and over 200 short stories that have been published. I mean, that's just insane.
That is nothing but writing.
Then who knows how many writings he has that he just hasn't seen the light of day, where he's just writing concepts or whatever, Right. But that's it. You must live on your typewriter. Maybe he does use a typewriter. I don't know.
He might.
But it's just amazing. Like the people, even like Timothy Zahn, how many books he's put out for Star Wars and like those kind of authors. I'm always amazed at how much content they're able to put out there.
Yeah,
but maybe because they don't have to deal with artists.
That's it. That's it. Hey, I even considered to go back and take Paradox Wars and just write it as a novel. Yeah. And then I'm sort of using this to see where it goes. Just because I love comics. I've owned multiple stores. I've published years and years and years, and even the creative end. But hey, I'm not getting any younger, and my day job, which is I own a retro video game store, Nostalgic Video Games here in Northern Kentucky. It's doing very well. It runs, my brother runs it. They got a great group of team that takes care of it. So now creatively, I'm able to, what do I want to do creative, And as much as I want to go do comics, this novel stuff seems very interesting because I write it, it gets edited, it retweaks, and then it goes out for print, and we start all over after we spend 3 months marketing.
Yeah.
You mentioned your store. Is this it here?
Nostalgic Video Games. It sure is. Yes, it is. Brett, you remember years ago we did the sketch cards for cancer?
Yes.
That's when I owned a comic book shop. This year we are doing Gamers for a Cure. Nice. And the event is in October. And we'll pitch this while I'm here. Yeah. We have some printed boards, some Strathmore we're sending out to artists who request it. We're looking for more artists. And these pieces of artwork will be part of a MVP package and part of a silent auction. And our goal is to raise a few $1,000s for cancer. We have what comes in the shop will be breast cancer because Susan G. Coleman. And then I have an online link. I think you can click on that logo, take it to its page. And I've got an online link, GoFundMe, that will go directly to American Cancer Society. So this is very close. My wife had breast cancer 20 years ago. Now her sister has it. So this has brought it back up in us. My editor, his sister currently has it. So that's a form you can fill out to request boards. We'll send you out boards to draw on. And it's just, we're going to have an event at the shop. We'll have like gaming systems set up. They're running Smash Brother tournaments. We'll have food and drinks and silent auctions. We've got T-shirts we're printing up with that logo on the front of it. We're selling the shirts. So it's just a fundraiser. We finally got the store up and running big enough people involved with us that we can do an event like this.
Nice.
So, and 100% Blue Line, Sketch, and Nostalgic is donating a bunch of money and time into it to get it launched. So yeah, it's something that's been something we did early on. Did 3-4. I think we did 3 or 4 years of the sketch card events. We raised something like $15,000.
Nice.
So that was nice, and that was all donated. So it's taken us years to get back where this store can handle something like this, and we can do it in house and do it in our shop. We got a 4,000 square feet shop. It's not small. It's pretty big. So we got a lot of room. We got room for people to come in and game and eat and mosey around and just a fun evening. It'd be a fun evening.
Very good.
So, and what day is it?
It is October
23rd.
Yes, thank 23rd.
You. Okay.
Yeah.
I know scrolling it went by fast, so I didn't catch it.
Yeah, I wanted to do it at the end of the month, and then somebody says, that's Halloween. I'm like, oh, no. Let's do it the weekend before Halloween.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's October 23rd. I think our T-shirts are coming in Friday. We're going to start pre-selling the T-shirts. And, like $20. We even reached out to a T-shirt, normal person who prints our T-shirts for the shop. They donated all the printing and everything. All we got to do is pay for the shirts. So it's even more we get to donate. So, yep, 3 big events is buy a T-shirt or just come to the event for $30. Everything gets donated. Blue Line's covering the food and the drink and everything. So there's everything that comes in money wise is getting donated. So you get to be part. There's to be door prizes. I think they're doing my gamer distributors. I got some great gamer distributors. Hyperkin. They donated yo-yos and bags. They gave us 5 systems to give away as door prizes, video game systems like Retrons. These play the old video games and stuff like that. So they gave us a bunch of stuff to give away as door prizes or auction off. And then my team there, they're huge gamers. They're big into gaming. So they're running a Super Smash Brothers tournament. And I'm like, go have fun. As much as I love the business end and learning all of this, I said, I'm not that much of a gamer, And that's probably why I'm a good business owner. I don't need every $1,000 game that comes in the door. I don't need to keep that. Sell it,
You're not using your own product, huh?
No, it's sort of funny because it's like, what's a Zelda thing? So I started collecting all these Zelda games, and they came in my little office. They're like, you don't even take these home to play them? I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to play them? No, just put them back in the shop then, So it's like, oh, I'm going to drive to Florida here in a couple of weeks. I need the easiest game I can play is a racing game. I mean, all you do is crash, right? You don't have to shoot somebody or stand up or walk around or whatever. So I'm like, find me a handheld racing game for my PSP or my Switch. So I have something to do when I go to Florida. So,
yeah, Michelle's listening in today.
Fun.
Michelle's she's a local cardio drummer leader and works for the post office here. She's a good friend of ours. And she's a closet gamer. Game of War. I remember Game of War.
I polished a lot of Game of War discs. We polished discs. We got 2 robot polishers that polish like 50 discs at a time. And there's always God of War 1, God of War 2 disc in there.
Well, they were big sellers. I mean, as much as I like games and I like to play games, I just don't have time. And but God of War was one that it seemed like popped up forever 20 years ago, and just like everybody's talking about God of War, God of War, God of War. So everybody had it that was really into the gaming. So I assume you guys are definitely getting a lot of those discs as you're like, well, I beat it 20 times, I don't need it anymore.
we have close to 20,000 games on the floor.
Woo.
So and this is all disc and cartridge and everything. We have a warehouse that used to be the Blue Line warehouse where you guys might have stopped in. That is now where we actually fix systems.
Okay.
We rebuild systems, we refurbish controllers, systems. We have a big wall, nothing but monitors where we test everything, and then they go back into the store. So Blue Line's actually ran out of the back of the store now. They got a little art shop in it's the least profitable thing there is selling art supplies in a video game store. Imagine that. But we still sell a lot online. So that's where they put everything and pick it. But,
so they can still go to bluelinepro.com and order what they need. So
yes. We still sell the basic art supplies and the papers, and we're at some of the papers. And unfortunately, everything's going digital, of course, which is making paper costs go up because they're not selling as much. So for their process of making it, it's just Strathmore costs us more and more. The basic pro papers cost us more and more every year, and it's just, we're going to continue Blue Line for foreseeable futures, but that way. Actually, the video game store is helping Blue Line now. It used to be in the past where Blue Line helped other things, but now the video game store is helping Blue Line hang in there. We can continue to keep it going, print the boards, keep the art supplies coming, and Sketch Magazine, too. I'm able to keep it going and bring on the editors and everything to keep it rolling. So.
Yeah, real excited about Sketch Magazine.
Yeah, you got a wide selection here at Blue Line Pro. So, guys, check it out, bluelinepro.com. They got art books, the art supplies, paper, art protection supplies, drafting supplies, tech pens. You name it, they got it. And they got the links here for the Sketch Magazine, too.
Yeah.
Now, is Sketch Magazine, is the past issues available digital to buy, or?
They are in print right now. I'll be uploading the digitals back on it. About a year or so ago, I started a site called shoutfire.com. It was going to be it was going to be a replacement for Sketch. And we got a couple writers, and we're writing articles and doing some videos and stuff like that. So we moved all the digital to online only. If you subscribe to that site, you could get to read the digital online. But I got busy. And it really wasn't doing well. So I decided to write a book instead of keep doing that. And so we'll be bringing the digital versions back here, and we're going to be putting the digital versions on Amazon also, because I'm at Amazon now doing all the publishing. So we'll put the digital issues on there.
There you go. Issue
I still think the old,
issue 28.
The older
Robert
issues,
Kirkman about Invincible.
Invincible, yes. That was fun. The Michael Turner stuff, I love those. Gosh, I could tell you stories. I interviewed Todd McFarlane, who was driving with the hood down. So I don't know what he was driving. I could barely hear him. I'm trying to record this interview, and yes, he truly says F every 3 words. So it is just wow. So that was fun.
Yeah, there's the Todd McFarlane one, issue number 2.
Yeah. David Mack's a friend of mine. I've known Dave. Dave actually started off in my little studio in Florence. He's issue 1. And I asked Mike, I said, why isn't issue 1 on Blue Line? He goes, because we've been out of print of it for a long time. Now with the new presses in, I'm getting some in print. I said, okay. So yeah, that'll be something I'll be visiting over the next couple of weeks, getting it updated.
Frank Cho. I always loved Frank Cho's artwork.
Frank was fun. Ran into him at conventions, and great creator. Great artist, great writer. Loved his Liberty Meadow stuff, his strip stuff from back when he was college and continued. And hey, he draws women fantastic. I'll put him up there with Adam Hughes.
Yeah, personally, he's my favorite.
Is he?
Yeah, I think the way he gets the perfect balance, like the way he draws Wonder Woman, he gets the perfect balance. I think between strong and muscular, but feminine at the same time. I agree. He gets that perfect balance in there.
And he's a real nice guy.
Yeah,
he's a really nice guy.
Yeah, that's great because I think lot of these younger people we see at the shows that want to get into comics, they don't realize that Sketch Magazine was ever out there. They need to go back and read these because it's all relevant.
Oh, it's a gold mine
to anything now. I mean, it's some of the best information out there. I know I've got a bunch still here, and it's great to flip through them and read stuff, pick up on tips, and just see what some of the creators did. It's kind of read it after.
I'm hoping to expand the online part of it too. Like, there's only so much you can do in print. But we can do extended interviews. We can do more portfolio pieces and stuff online. And then, somehow we'll connect that with sketchmagazine.net and continue it. I'm always want to share. I want people to be creative. I want to be creative, and what I learned, and because I've been so lucky and there's so many people out in the industry, and I've got good friends like Bo Smith, we interviewed Neil Gaiman. And that was something I reached out. I knew Bo was somehow connected with him. I said, "Hey, Bo, how about get me Neil?" Next day, I call from his person, his handler, his person that was in charge, and says, "I understand you want to interview him." I'm like, "Yeah, we would, we sure would, yeah." And so I'm really lucky to know a lot of people who's opened up doors for us because we want to share, creatively. That's why Neil came on. I mean, it's because we were sharing. He's all about new creators coming on and helping creators develop and grow. So I'm very lucky with it. Now I'm glad to get back to sketch. I just had to take a few years and get my day job off the ground again, and it's there. So now
we understand the day job bit. So
yes. Yeah. Real estate's easy, right, Scott?
Yeah.
You just answer phones, right?
It's definitely more profitable. It allows me to actually pay bills, and the term "starving artist" is there for a reason.
It is. It sure is. You've got to love.
That's why it's a passion. It is, and the word passion it comes out of pain. It's
really Bob, how many you and I talked about that? Bob's called me a few times. He goes, "I just can't quit."
I know. What is it? I was talking to Rodney Fikey the other day, and y'all know Rodney.
Yeah.
And he ran by the shop to pick up some stuff, and I'm like, why can't we walk away? I mean, I've known Rodney for a long time. I'm like, why do we always want to come back? And it's because we love this. You love it. I think it's the process of telling a story and showing the art. You don't have to go make a movie. If I had to go make a movie to do something like that, it'd be impossible. Yeah. Well,
but I think it also illustrates the difference between a creator and an artist. There are some people, and we've talked about this in the past, there's some people where they're amazing artists. They've been in the industry a long time, have done amazing work. But you see them, and it's 20 years later, and they haven't had a single new thing since they worked for a certain large company.
Right.
But whereas you have other people where even if they're out of it, it's nothing but new stuff because their mind wants to create and they want to put new out all the time. And I think that's the difference. I mean, when you have a passion for it and you're a creator and you can't just walk away because it's in your blood.
That's it.
Whereas if you're just simply somebody's paid pencil, when you run out of people paying you to be a pencil, you don't have anything new to put out. So there is a difference between being a creator and, even for yourself, your desire to create was so strong. You shifted to a new media format, being novels,
right? Because
you had to get it out,
right? Right, definitely.
So how about you give us your final pitch here for Camelot Forever and how people can find it?
Well, you can find it on Amazon.com. Search Camelot Forever, Lancelot's Redemption. It'll pop up. The ebook is 99 cents through Sunday. So jump on there if you're a Kindle reader, or the print on demand, and Amazon handles all that. They come up with the price and everything. It's $12.99 for the printed edition, and that gets you the printed edition. It's a fun adventure type story. I don't know what to compare it. You can't say it's a Harry Potter, but real quick, I had no clue it was going to be what they call a TYA, which is teen young adult. Creating it, I wrote it, the editor edited it, and then we started looking into this. Everybody kept categorizing as a TYA. I'm like, what? TYA? Why? And the editor goes, I thought you wrote this for Teen Young Adult. I said, no, I just wrote a story. This is a story I want to tell with these characters. He goes, yeah, but your genre fits right in. And yeah, every category fits right into where this should fit right in. But it's fun for every read. The only ones who won't appreciate this really quick is my mother read it, and her view of it was that there was no, how shall we put this?
No lightsabers.
No.
No lightsabers.
Mom likes these erotica type
Oh,
books, with werewolves and
She wanted that
vampires,
side of
and
the
that,
Arthurian legend.
and she goes, there wasn't enough. Of
So
that.
she wanted. So she wanted.
Like,
She wanted little Lancelot.
yes. And I told her I was going to tell people this because she works with us every day. She still packages and ships Blue Line every day.
I love your mom. She's
And,
wonderful.
And I told her, I said, I'm going to tell people about your review that we're not going to publish, But it does help me to
Well, see, now you got to go do the other story. Like all these authors are going back and rewriting their initial books and telling a different point of view. Well, now you can say Camelot Forever, Little Lancelot's redemption,
the beginning,
and then dedicated to mom.
Yeah, they come out with the director's cut. It's the mom's cut.
Yeah.
This is for mom. It will blow people away, right?
Mom approved.
We'll see how well this one does before we have to go there.
Lancelot After Dark.
Yeah,
There you go. Oh, geez.
Hey, guys, I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah. Hey, we're going to be in Cincinnati this weekend. Bob, I think you're going to come out and just visit us, but you're not setting up this weekend.
Not setting up this weekend, but I'll be over Saturday. Saturday walking.
Well, we're going to be at Artist
Go ahead.
Table C1 and C2. Giving you guys that for Bob's and then identification as well as ours. So C1 and C2, you can find us there. Wish you were setting up. We like hanging out with you all weekend.
I know. It's a hometown show. It's just, it's not worth bringing the video games over because we have such a huge crowd that actually travels to go to our store to see the Prime stuff. And creatively, I haven't really done anything. So next year, and shows, guys, I can't believe you guys are still doing shows. I'm sorry. We need to have a discussion about doing shows.
Oh, they're marketing for
Are
us.
they truly profitable?
Yeah.
Or are they just fun entertainment, for us? Because
it's a mix of both. We just did, real quick, Kevin Miner and I just did the Colorado Springs show. The show itself was profitable. We made money. But we also increased the list of people that were following us for future Kickstarters.
And that's our
primary goal is building up the fan base. Even if it's just a few people at the shows, we're going in, we try to watch costs. We know we're not always going to be profitable. We want to be profitable, but it's about building this list up, building the Bardstone brand for us. And this is one way to do it. It's like Polito. When we see Brian at all the shows too, and he does a lot. And yes, he sells a lot because he's got a good fan base. But I remember the days before Kickstarter, and he was there hitting it hard too. And
I sit on a soccer field, stinky soccer field with Brian Polito and a couple of us at some show in Pennsylvania. And he was signing people up and selling stuff. You got to do them all. That's a long time before he brought Lady Death. So I can see that.
The goal in the past, shows for us was a profit center. That it was all about how much money you made and we paid our bills from those. Shows have changed. Now we see it more as our marketing division and cost of marketing doing the shows. And obviously, if we can make money or profit, that's better. But our goal, it's all about how many names and email addresses do we collect so that when we run our Kickstarter, the Kickstarter is more successful. So that's how we have shifted our focus over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it is a different animal than it used to be.
I might get back out there next year. Do a couple of shows at least.
And that's what we're doing. We're hitting, shows really is for the marketing. And sometimes it's also, we like to go to that particular area to check it out. So it ties in a little bit of a write-off vacation with it. Stuff like that. So
now Tampa, it doesn't matter how much money we make or lose. It's about the restaurants.
Yes, you go.
We got to go because our favorite restaurants are there.
My wife is recently retired, so now she can travel with me. I don't have to hire somebody to go. So that's free labor, right?
Right.
Well, and now with the book, you just have Amazon print a bunch up for you. You show up, you sell them, and promote the next one coming out, and that's all. Again, that's what it is for us. That's why we do the shows, because the shows will. Unfortunately, the shows will never go back to the way they were 15 years ago when we could show up and make, a bucket of money and be just fine. Now it's all
Right.
about changing everything, going online, and to be honest with you, the real fans I think are online. A lot of people come to the shows, don't know what they're coming to, and we're trying to create fans from that. So
remember, you had the old timer collectors who, no matter what show I would do, like around the country, the same like 10 to 20 guys you would see, they would get the early bird tickets, and they'd be having their little carts, and they would be commissioning big dollar commissions. They'd be paying great money for stuff, for sketches and comics and originals, and like you don't see those people anymore. I don't see any of them anymore. I don't know if they just buy online now or if they've shifted to Kickstarter, but like those early bird tickets used to mean something. You had a hardcore crowd that came. I don't think they even matter anymore. At shows.
No, they're all getting in line for the celebrities that are there those days. Those autographs. So.
Yeah, you just see the rush of people running through the aisles to get to a celebrity signing.
Yeah, I think that sort of deterred me because you're seriously, they open an hour early, and so we get there early, and they booked to give you the first in line for who the movie star was, and it's sort of like,
I take that time to actually wander the show a little bit and catch up with people.
Yes, but I will see you guys this weekend.
Awesome. We look forward to seeing you. We'll have Connie, the Comic-Con mom, with us, so she's looking forward to seeing you.
I can't wait to see Mom.
So, hey, anytime you got something going on, Bob, let us know. You're always welcome on the show. If you're bored and just want to hang out, let us know too.
I will try. I try to listen if I'm at the office. Yeah. But when we get closer to the sketch, maybe we'll get together, talk about it, see who we got lined up for articles and stuff. And
definitely.
We'll give away something too.
That sounds good. Sounds good. So, hey, join us all next week. We'll see y'all at 10 a.m. on Wednesdays. Bye.